Okay, so that wraps up sleep. So now we're going to briefly touch on a couple different problems and disorders of consciousness. Starting off with seizures. So seizures are this abnormal level of brain activation that occur with a sudden onset and often produce a change in your consciousness. So most people would not consider seizures to be true brain damage, but they do result in this loss of consciousness. So this activity can be the result of brain damage or infection, but most of the time they appear without an obvious cause. You really don't have to know the details of this, but just in case you're curious, seizures can occur in two different ways. So there are partial seizures, which originate in a particular part of the brain. They have a focal area of the brain. So for instance, in this case, you have a seizure in your temporal lobe. You can kind of see it in this example. This is a slice in your brain as if you just went straight in front of you. So you have a focal seizure and it's able to kind of just go just to the side of the hemisphere that's on, really. It leads to distorted consciousness. So not fully loss of, but some problems with. The other case, though, is a generalized seizure, which is an abnormal activation of circuits all throughout the cortex and thalamus. It leads to a complete loss of consciousness. You can see here, it's kind of just overall affecting most of your cortical area. You can see it often will start here kind of in a thalamus and just extend to all parts of your brain. So yeah, this is kind of the main, how seizures might affect consciousness, either completely losing it or not. We talked about, a fun review a little earlier in the neuroscience chapter about how when someone has seizures, one of the ways that you can kind of treat it is through cutting your corpus callosum. So that would enable, if you're cutting this piece right here in the middle, for seizures to not travel to the opposite side of the brain and not kind of extend and have as far of consequences. That leads to split brain, which review for yourself, we talked about earlier. So now we're kind of bringing stuff together. But there are a couple other disorders. And to introduce those, I want you to experience this paragraph. So imagine you wake up and you are locked inside of a box. It's a perfect fit down to every last one of your fingers and toes. Now it's a strange box because you can listen to absolutely everything going on around you, yet your voice can't be heard. In fact, the box fits so tightly around your face and lips that you can't speak or make a noise. At first it feels like a game, but then reality sets in. You see and you hear other family members lamenting your fate. You're too cold, you're too hot, you're always thirsty. The visits of your friends and family start to slowly dwindle off. Your partner moves on, and there's nothing you can do about it.